In today's video, we're gonna see if Nikon D5600 is still relevant in 2024 or not, or whether this camera is really outdated for 2024. Should you still buy this camera or not? If you wanna know the answer, stay tuned and watch the entire video. This camera was launched in November 2016. It's almost 7.5 years old, but despite being 7.5 years old, the image quality that you get from this camera is still really good. You can compare the image quality from this camera with one of the latest mirrorless camera, for example, Nikon Z50 or ZFC. Their image quality is very comparable with this one. However, in low lighting situation, those cameras are slightly better. This camera has really very high dynamic range, almost 14 stops of dynamic range you have on this camera. It has a 24 megapixel sensor and it is a crop sensor. But the good thing about this camera is that in front of the sensor there is no optical low pass filter. So you will get a lot of sharpness both in the photos and in the videos. This camera can shoot 5 frames per second in continuous mode. So this is not recommended if you want to use this for sports or wildlife photography. Now since I mentioned video, this camera can shoot full HD video up to 60 frames per second, and it also has a flip out screen. So if you want to do vlogging, if you want to make YouTube video, this can be really handy because you can see yourself in the frame. And it also has a mic input jack, so you can get really good audio. You can connect external microphone to this camera to get good audio. However, there are two main drawbacks with this camera. The first drawback is that when you are recording video, you can only record 10 minutes clip at a time if you are shooting in full HD 60 frames per second. And the second drawback is that you will see a lot of focus hunting in video, especially if you are using this camera in AFF mode. So if you want to make videos with this camera, I would recommend you to use AFS mode or use this camera in manual focus. Otherwise, you will definitely face a lot of focus hunting with this camera. So this is the kind of video quality that you can expect with this camera. And right now, this tree in front of me is in focus and the background is totally blurred out. I'm using the AFS mode because if I use AFF mode, then camera will continuously try to focus and there will be a lot of focus hunting. So that is the only mode I would recommend you if you want to make video. You can also make video using manual focus. If you plainly look at the details and the quality of the video, it is actually really good. Every details is very much visible and there is a lot of sharpness in the video. Now if I try to focus back on the background, I just have to tap on the screen at the back and it will focus over there. And if I move the camera back to the tree, now when I tap it back at the screen, this tree is back in focus. So this touch screen makes your job quite easy when you want to focus from one point to another point. You need something with high frame per second for that, like Nikon D500. Now let's talk about some of the good things of this camera. So the first good thing about this camera is the image quality. The image quality of this camera is really awesome. The dynamic range, the color depth, the sharpness in the image are really excellent. You can get very good results with this camera. If you use some better lens like the 35mm f1.8 or the 50mm f1.8, then you can get even better results with this camera body. The weight of the camera is around 465 grams. It is not very heavy and the grip is also really good. It feels good in your hand. It is a solid piece of camera. And the screen that you get at the back of the camera can rotate in any direction and it is a touch screen, so you can change all your settings on the go just by touching. If you want to change your focus from one place to another, you can just touch and tap on the screen and it will work like charm. This camera has also got exposure bracketing and also time-lapse video recording. Beside that, it also has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi in it. So you can pair this camera with your smartphone and you can do full remote shooting with it. So that means you will be able to see what your camera is saying and you can control all the settings and record the video and download the photos on the go. The low light capability of this camera is also really good. The ISO range goes from 100 up to 25,600, and in low lighting situation it indeed does a good job. As I have been talking, you have already seen the photos that this camera can take, and the photos indeed look really very awesome. Definitely in 2024 you can use this camera for photography. However, when we talk about video, it does have some focus hunting. So now I'm gonna put onto the screen the video footage that I've taken with this camera and you will be able to see the result. The video quality actually looks really good. The sharpness and the colors in the video are really nice. It is very detailed, but the only problem is the 10-minute record limit and the autofocus hunting. Now let's talk about the price of the camera. So you can get this camera used for roughly around 300 to 350 US dollar along with the kit lens. The kit lens that comes with this camera is actually quite a good one. It's a AFP lens and the autofocus on this lens is really faster compared to the old AFS lens. Also, the autofocus motor in this is very silent. However, despite that, it does focus hunting, but the sharpness and the image quality on this lens is much better. So in 350 US dollar or 300 US dollar, depending on the condition of the camera, whether this camera is a good buy in 2024, I would say yes, because you can take really stunning photos with this. You can spend another $100 to buy the 50mm lens or the 35mm lens, and then you have a beast of a camera which can do really nice portrait photos for you, and also in low lighting situation it's gonna do a great job. So definitely for a price point of 300 to 350 US dollar, this is still a very good buy. If you compare this camera with Canon 200D, that camera is good for video but not so good for photography. So primarily if you are looking for a camera which is really good for photography but that can also do some video, however if you want to do video with this, you will have to use manual focus or AFS mode by fixing the focus at one place. If you don't mind doing that, then this can be a good option for you. However, if you are into videos and you really need a camera with good video capabilities, then I would recommend you to go for Nikon Z50, Z30 or ZFC. Those three cameras have great autofocus and very good video capability. Alright guys, I hope you got your answer whether this camera is good for you in 2024 or not. If you like the video, please give me a like. If you have any questions and comments, please don't forget to comment down there, and I will see you in a new video.